Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the American Soccer Club Zone on KJOY Radio, 98.3 here in Farmingdale, New York, iconic Long Island radio station. Brought to you by the incredible sponsors and partners of the American Soccer Club New York, LifeVac, our Jersey front partners. LifeVac has saved over 4,000 lives to date. CEO founder Artie Lee and his LifeVackers around the country are on a mission to save lives, and the American Soccer Club New York are partners in that noble endeavor. Orland & Cohen Orthopedic Group, a division of Northwell Health, are Jersey-backed partners. The incredible Orland & Cohen Orthopedic Group division has state-of-the-art facilities, and they help get our athletes back on the field, and they've been great. Our uniform apparel partners, who we just met with recently over in Bridgeport, Connecticut, in the North American headquarters of Macron. Bologna, Italy's base Macron is our partner. Their motto is "Be Your Own Hero," and we love that. Macron U.S. headquarters we were at in Bridgeport, Connecticut, just a short ferry ride away out of Port Jefferson. The Bongiorno Law Firm in Garden City, New York, Long Island's best personal injury law firm. And A-Turf, America's top synthetic turf manufacturer. A-Turf Fields last in the industry, leading 14.5 years. From the Buffalo Bills Stadium to the Sousa FC Orland & Cohen Sports Complex in Central Islip, A-Turf provides a playing surface like most like natural grass in pristine condition. BQE Soccer Partners, Kevin Reardon and I, the architects of the American Soccer Club New York. And finally, Todd Shapiro and Associates, the reason we're here, to the top PR agency in the country, and the Long Island Junior Soccer League, our opening day partner for 2025, and will be in 2026 as well. So thank you. We have a great guest today, too. My name is Jim Kilmeade, your host. Our guest is another great Long Islander, a soccer person, as you can imagine, and her name is Cindy Spera. Cindy's the managing director and commissioner at the NPSL, the National Premier Soccer League. She enjoyed a great career on Wall Street, was an executive director at Morgan Stanley, and was also a Cornell University scholar athlete. And Northport native, which is now my town. Cindy and I first met in the early days of the USISL, when I started a local pro team and on the men's side, and then we put a women's team together. Both teams were national champions within 2 years, with 98% all Long Island players. Cindy was one of the leaders on that team. Pretty much a pioneer. Now women's pro soccer and pro-am soccer is commonplace, but it wasn't back then. And so we were kind of at the beginning, Cindy, so welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So your commute wasn't too bad, was it, today?
Not so bad.
Not so bad. So it's a beautiful Sunday morning here in Long Island, and so welcome to Cindy Spera and the NPSL to the American Soccer Club Zone. By the way, A-Turf is also a partner of the NPSL to the official turf provider. When you and I first met, you were right out of college? How many years out of college?
It was I graduated in 92, and that first team that we put together was 94.
That's right. We started in the spring, summer, doing tryouts for 93. Peter Collins Jr. was your head coach, right?
Correct.
And the Lady Riders were born. And were born on a shoestring budget. And within 2 years, national champions.
Yes.
And that team, I know personally, is still very close today. We were just discussing off air. In fact, tell people the story you were talking about right now about the fraternity that became the Long Island Lady Riders.
It really was such an amazing, unique experience for all of us. We have stayed close. We get together regularly, get together at people's homes, celebrate birthdays, share and some other unfortunate things that have happened over our lives. And recently I was at the home of Kim Wyant and Kristen Burtis, two alumni, along with Dina Grossman, now Dina Case, who was up from Charlotte, where she had moved, with Gina Vasallo, who is now Gina Tucker, and with Diane McLaughlin, St. John.
It's a good team right there.
Yeah, so it was wonderful. We all got together for Dina because she was in town, and we watched the 1996 game against the U.S. national team.
Yep.
They had a warm-up game with us for the 1996 Olympics in Atlanta. So we sat around, watched that game, rewound, watched it again, went back, watched a different play, and we analyzed that game. And what I had forgotten was at the end of that game, which we had lost 3-0, 2 goals on restarts and 1 on a questionable call.
To a team that went on to win a World Cup.
Correct.
And the Olympics.
And the Olympics that year. So they won that year. after that game, we did a penalty kick shootout, which I had forgotten about. And Kim Wyatt saved the penalty kick that Mia Hamm took.
Really?
Now, it wasn't an official game, and it wasn't.
And that's on film.
And it's on film.
That is incredible.
And then they went on to, I believe, if I'm correct, the gold medal game was a shootout game in Atlanta
against China.
I believe that's correct. Yeah. So we had had that warm up, penalty kick shootout, which I think we lost 6-5, maybe something like that. Christine Lilly took a kick. Mia took a kick.
That had to be surreal for you guys.
Julie Foudy, I believe, was on the field. I remember she was one of the kickers. Michelle Akers didn't play. She may have been there. She
probably was hurt.
But she was hurt, at the time. But we had watched that, and we were just, I remember the first play of the game, everyone's a little tentative, and then Dina just cracked someone.
Really?
Yes,
Dina?
on the sideline, yep.
The smallest person out there. Tough as nails, though.
Fair tackle, good tackle, just got in behind it, and then that just kind of made everyone relax, and then, played the rest of the game. And
you know what? It's funny. One of our calls to arms is when we started the American Soccer Club. Why are we doing this? What are some of the reasons we're doing this outside of we know that soccer is where it's at right now as a business and as a sport? But one of the main reasons was this area used to be the epicenter of male and female youth and senior talent. And we both played a part in that, and at least by bringing it to the foreground. And it's kind of lost its way now because it's not right now. And one of the things that I think we've been able to begin the process of with our launch in the NPSL, we're going to talk more about the NPSL and your involvement, is that we're bringing attention back to this area again and the players that are here. And we don't even know what kind of effect it is, but there's got to be another Cindy Spera, Kim Wyatt, that is at home, that maybe they're going to end up going to a game and they'll be part of an interview process, or we'll go to their club and there'll be the New York Post showing up like they just did. There's a big interview just being released this past week in the New York Post of our American Soccer Club hosting Welcome to Wrexham AFC at Burns Park, my hometown field, and now the training ground for the American Soccer Club, with the Long Island Junior Soccer League. Now, that's kind of how we all started this together. Peter Collins Sr. had the idea, pushed guys like me that came out of the league to get jobs in this industry and really helped us all. And all we wanted was an opportunity on the field, and then some of us wanted it off the field. And we were able to capture lightning in a bottle, and it lasted for quite a while. But now, for whatever reason, the soccer world is bigger than ever, not necessarily better than ever, and the youth market is an absolute mess, if you ask me. And it's very hard to distinguish yourself as a region, let alone as a club. And I think the American Soccer Club, like the clubs that we started, that I was happy to start with in name, and then ended up meeting you and all these other great men and women that I'm still friendly with to this day as well. But that's part of what we're here to do, and I think that's what the NPSL represents around the United States. Because, Long Island, we're in a big market here, almost too big for us. It's very hard to crack through. We're starting to do it, though. Majors covers CBS Sports, Fox Sports. We've got News 12, probably as supportive as the others, and they're local. But I think the NPSL is in the biggest towns in America. It's also in the smallest towns. Mm-hmm. One of the great stories that I want to talk about today a little bit is the Hickory FC story out of North Carolina. Not a mainstream town that we all knew about. We know about it now because they've created something very strong down there, and they've just won a national championship. So tell me about how you got involved with the NPSL, and then we'll come back to Hickory, because I know there's a story there as you moving out of your financial career, which is very successful. And in fact, I'm going to back you up one more. How did you get in? What made you get to Morgan Stanley? Did you take finance and business at Cornell?
Yes, that's correct.
Right.
So
you played soccer there too.
I played soccer there. Yep, I was an economics major, and my first job was actually on Long Island. So I worked right here in Jericho Plaza for Chemical Bank, which was then merged with Chase.
Bank. Yeah.
So for a couple of years, and then I, was done with that and kind of was interviewing, and I started with Morgan Stanley in '97.
97. So in 97, and what high school did you play at again?
John Glenn High School.
John Glenn High School in East Northport?
Yes.
Great athletic program. Not a big school, but a prestigious school, excellent school. Cornell. When you get to your senior year at Cornell, very emotional for all of us that played college, me at Hofstra. You don't know where you're going to go from there. You know you're going to play, but you don't know really what it's going to be, and you're probably thinking this is the pinnacle of where I'm going to go. Just played Division I soccer at Cornell, graduating. Did you have any idea that you'd ever be playing in the USISL, which became the USL, and that you'd have a long career that went on way past your college days? Was that even in your mind?
It really wasn't, because it wasn't there.
Right.
There was no opportunity like
just the Long
that
Island Ladies
at that
League,
time.
right? You had a senior league?
So graduated from college, came home, started working, and then played summers with, there were ladies leagues. I played on the Northport team, which was there was a bunch of teams, a Lindenhurst team, a Northport team, then there was like the Garden City-based team, so it was usually Northport, that constant rival that we always had with the Suffolk County, Nassau County. So I actually played for the Northport team where Lynn Vasallo, Gina's mom, coached us.
Well, did I know how many players we were going to get off that team to join us?
And then that was the summer team. And then the team that we played on year-round, locally, in the local league, was Brentwood. And I'll mention Bruce Fabrizio's name.
Remember that name.
Which goes way back.
Yeah.
And
Long Island Junior Soccer League Hall of Fame member.
And he was our coach, and we had players on that team that went to the Lady Riders, and some that decided not to. But we had myself, Gina, Lisa Schaefer, Tracy Irigoyen.
She was on that original team.
On
too.
the original team, yeah. But I'm sure I'm missing others. And on that original Brentwood team was also Margie Barris,
Massapequa
Karen Sheehan, Danette Pollack. So all these names go so far back. But that was when the Lady Riders came out. A bunch of us tried out, pulled a lot of players from that team, but I do always remember that I think we broke Bruce's heart a little bit because he loved that team. He was so supported. He had the best team on Long Island at the time, and he was really needs to be recognized because he was a great supportive
I think a lot of
person.
people like Bruce and others that did lose some of the players on the men's and women's side back then. In the beginning, this is how much better is this going to be than what we're doing. And I knew that when both of our teams became successful, they were successful on the field. But off the field, when I started noticing that the people from the Cosmopolitan League, the Greek League, the top women's league, they started coming to the games. They wouldn't come to the games initially because then, and that showed great respect that they realized, we did something good, and they could be proud of their contribution to it. I think also because we were also very good in the community. We went out and did acknowledge these folks, and I think that's what a lot of clubs don't do. They don't understand. They think that now that we're here, everything before us was not that much. When meanwhile, you wouldn't be there without these people.
That's
and
right.
That's why the volunteer, which has kind of gone away in our society now. I know that I wouldn't be here without all the volunteers in my own club in Massapequa, even in Northport today where I coached. It's still volunteer driven. It's just that now everything is for a lot of money. And we'll talk about the level of soccer on both the men's and women's side. But how do you go from Morgan Stanley to the NPSL? How the heck did that happen?
How did that happen? So I was I left Morgan Stanley. The market, the environment, the economy had been shifting and changing. We had the 2008.
That was fun.
Yeah. Crisis, and I was very happy there. I have a lot of gratitude for.
And you were in the city.
I was in Manhattan. I was in the headquarters building at 1585 Broadway. I have a lot of gratitude for the people there that helped me, and I had a wonderful career there. Very, challenging to the mind. Very, just an amazing experience. And I traveled the world with them.
Right.
I spent a month in India.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Hong Kong, Budapest, Hungary, Japan, all over. So it was a wonderful experience, but it was time. And I had moved out I was like one of those, crazy people that left the banking industry and moved out to Eastern Long Island. So lived in West Hampton for a decade and kind of was figuring out my next move. And it coordinated with the time that I was I was involved with the New York Athletic Club at that
Yes,
time.
and I meant to bring that up. So
Yes.
tell us more about that. So
Yes.
this is kind of your conduit with your role at NYAC, an incredible
Absolutely.
place in the city.
Yes, so New York Athletic Club. So after I was working in the city, and it just got too difficult to keep up with the demands of the Long Island Lady Riders and be working and trying to build a career in the city and doing the commute back and forth to practice. So eventually I stepped away from that. As I said, never stepped away from the relationships, but stepped away from playing. And then Diane McLaughlin, St. John, said, you know, there's this team in the city. I played there once as a guest player. They had a tournament. Like, they were good. You should, like, go
Oh, so
check them
Diane
out.
got you in.
So Diane
I didn't know
said,
that.
just check these guys out.
Okay.
So I did,
Mhm.
and that was it. So I wound up playing for the New York Athletic Club.
But there's such a
women's
theme
team.
here, which you probably wouldn't mention, but I'll mention. You end up going to an organization, and at the end of it, you end up running a part of the organization. Because I knew you when you first, your role with the NYAC, I knew it was a soccer role with the team, and you launched it. But you ended up being a director over there, and I still think you're involved there, obviously.
Right.
Yeah.
So got introduced to that team. That team was an amazing team.
Playing at Traverse Island?
Played at Traverse
Yeah.
Island, Westchester. They won. We won actually 3 USASA national championships. Kim Wyant was a coach for one of those, along with Paul. I'm not going to remember. It'll come to me. Passed away
Paul
recently.
Lasore.
Yes.
Yes, legendary Polish
Yes,
gentleman
of
and
course.
old gentleman.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, thank you.
Mhm.
So Kim and he coached the team that won the 3rd national championship for USASA, and at that time, volunteer. They call them chairman. I was the chairman of the soccer program. So you kind of run things, organize things.
So player, chairman.
So we had a team in the NPSL.
Right.
At that time that I was, running, managing.
And for all those listeners, the NPSL is a men's league at this point. It's exclusively a men's league. There's other women's leagues right now. So you're actually now operating the men's team?
Men and women.
Men and
So
women
we had a
together.
Team. We had the
Yeah.
NPSL team,
Right.
and then we had a team in the WPSL.
WPSL
at the
still
time,
around? Yeah.
And then we had a team in what they called the NIM Whistle, which was the New York Ladies Something Women acronym that played in the fall and spring. So that was my connection at that time to the NPSL. So I'd moved out to Long Island, was continuing to do that, and was on the board of the NPSL, on their very first board as the treasurer. So there was a meeting, and people kind of looked at each other and said, we got to put together a board. You work for a bank, don't you? Will you
There
be
you
the
go.
treasurer? I was like, sure, okay. And then the NPSL was growing. At that time, it was 30 teams. So things kept popping up, and I was recently, quote, unemployed, right? I had left work, so the website would crash. And I'd say, all right, let me call. I'll do it. And then something else would happen, and everyone else is at work because it's all volunteer. I said, all right, let me see if I can
So
fix it.
you got mission
So
creep
finally
here.
they said, Cindy, will you just resign from the board and be our first employee, basically?
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was a real confluence of events.
And you still have a role with them today, don't you?
NPSL. This is NPSL
Yeah, well,
I'm talking about.
Okay. What about
Yeah.
NYC?
So if we go,
AC. Yeah.
yeah. So if we go back to that, so yes, so I had the team in the NPSL,
Right.
and the and then eventually they asked me to be on the
Right.
board of the New York Athletic Club, and then from there asked me to be the captain of the club. So the New York Athletic Club, to digress for a minute, is an amazing organization.
Yeah, it really is.
They have a
Yeah.
building on Central Park South, a complex in Westchester where the athletic fields are, and they have a president, vice president, a secretary, and a treasurer. And in the spirit of being an athletic club, they have a 5th executive office called the captain. So that was my role. I was the first female captain that they had. That club was founded in 1868.
Wow.
And their mission is to sponsor amateur athletes and help those athletes financially and in other ways.
And I'd heard a little
to
bit
achieve
about
their
that, and I
goals.
remember having been in there a few times with you through NPSL stuff and other meetings and business. It's really an iconic place. It's not only in a great location of New York City, but it's just the history is. You probably go out. We can do a separate show on history, and we'll do that next time.
Okay.
Now, getting back to the NPSL, and by the way, if you're just tuning in, this is the American Soccer Club Zone. I'm Jim Kilmeade, your host, with Cindy Spera, Commissioner and Director, I almost said North American, the National Premier Soccer League, which is now in its 23rd year, I believe, 23rd year. The American Soccer Club New York chose that league to launch our club in, even though we have history personally with MLS and USL. We felt that the NPSL was the perfect model for us, and we think it was a great move for us, and we look forward to a long future. So NPSL come through a lot of things. American soccer is in some ways never been better, some ways never been more confusing. You have a death match going on, in my opinion, my words, between the USL and Major League Soccer to try and, since they didn't merge way back when, it's similar to like almost with Russia or Ukraine. They're going to come together, but not right now. And let's hope it's sooner or later. And now you have MLS reaching down further into the youth and into the pay-for-play model, which is now even taking over youth soccer. You have the USL doing a similar version, but not nearly as ominous. And there's some good people, great people in these organizations that deserve a lot of credit. But the NPSL sits just outside that, and without that heavy hand, and allows clubs like ours to operate with just enough support, but you have a lot of autonomy. And that's what Kevin Reardon and I and the other investors wanted. The NPSL today, you've actually, one of the reasons we felt good about it, that you were at the helm of it, and Kenny Farrell and Dina and Robin and Gary and everybody that we've worked with has been really impressive people to work with. We knew that there was going to be a very solid league behind us in administration. So what are your biggest challenges now with everybody trying to knock everybody off, not just on the youth side, but on the senior side? That's a tough question, but I have to give it to you.
Yeah, no, and there's a couple answers. So, one of the challenges, and the NPSL is not alone in this, is the confusion in the market and what we call the alphabet soup that is amateur soccer.
Yeah.
So how do you brand yourself in such a way that you can differentiate from everything that's going on below PLS standards and below Division III? So what the NPSL has tried to do is, as you say, is kind of a little bit of outside of some other wars going on, and the platform is really to be attractive to the entrepreneur, the business person that wants to make a business out of soccer, give the platform to do that, give the autonomy to do that, while also supporting the players and supporting their dreams that they may have. And what we try and do is, like you said, give the support. We have a very, very small but very, very high-quality staff. And we are very dependent on our team's ability and our enforcement, for lack of a better word, of minimum standards. So when you go, to an NPSL game as a supporter, as an opponent, there's a certain set of standards that you don't find.
Now having a season under my belt, that is critical. And that's every new club's concern in lower division soccer. And I don't mean just Division 3, but I mean Division 4. It could be 3, could be anything, because there are, and I've been through it all, we've all been through it all. I mean, back in '95, we had Tony Mueller on the team, we had a national championship caliber team, we're playing Rhode Island Stingrays. Decent venue, old, ancient, cool venue. We ended up, the locker rooms were above a bar, and with 2 showers for 20 guys. So this is a history of this, and that's the charm. But right now we don't want that charm anymore. We want competency. But even our division, the Northeast Conference, we played at Yale with New Haven, played at a beautiful stadium up in Hartford, played at St. John's against the Osner Club, and we have a nice venue here at Hofstra University. So it was exactly what it should be, in our opinion. Now, it's expensive to do this.
Absolutely.
That's why we don't even we call ourselves a professional soccer club. We have professional players on our roster, but we register as an amateur club proudly, and we think this level is perfect. My personal opinion, and I don't want to hear too much more of mine, the Division III model, the way it is today, is not a viable business model. I think a derivative of that, personally, is. And I think that's something we're aspiring to, which kind of leads me to my next question. I know some of the top clubs, or some of our listeners may not know, that are in existence today and have been in existence, have all started in the NPSL. Some are still there. You've been able to launch clubs like Annapolis. There's great stories everywhere in Lubbock and all these other towns like Boone, places that no one ever heard of, and you've launched clubs that are drawing 8, 9, 10,000 people per game. And I know you don't take credit for it, but were able to attract those models. So that's a badge of honor. And that continues on. Now, Hickory had some major crowds too. We'll talk about them in a minute. What is the league looking forward going? I know the league's looking at a lot of things and how things are going to evolve with either expanding their schedule to more than half the year to maybe 3/4 of the year. And how about the pro side of things? What can you say here on air?
Yes, and I'll even go back further to what you said, to Chattanooga,
and
to Detroit City.
Detroit, that's right. Detroit City, I forgot that. One of the best franchises come up here in the last 10 years.
And actually, we really can't take credit for Nashville, but that MLS club started in the NPSL, evolved, did a stint in USL.
I didn't know that.
Some of the people are, the ownership did change hands, so we don't really, we still have relationships with those people over there. In Nashville, we don't really kind of take credit for it that much because it was they took a little bit of a windy road, but the original people did start in the NPSL as well. So to answer the question, like I like anything else, like a club has to evolve, a player has to evolve, like our league
stay still.
is looking to evolve as a strategy. And I believe, and there's different people around the soccer community that believe different things. I believe that there's a gap in the market between that black line that is below Division III, that is all of amateur, that's not organized, and PLS standards. Because as you say, that's very, very difficult business model to sustain.
Because you're paying players way too much money that are really not a different level than the players that we are playing in our NPSL. I mean, I've been to both games, and you're not to have you're taking on that financial burden. So how do we work that out?
And a lot of the Division III leagues are so burdened by travel, getting on planes,
right?
And then
player salaries, planes, travels, rental cars, rental buses,
right?
Hotels.
So the NPSL has the base for creating something above the existing level. We already have the minimum standards for the stadium. You may change that from 500 to 5,000 or 2,500. But there is a gap there where I think the sophisticated business person that wants to that wants to invest in soccer, there's a perfect spot there, which would be, and I'll reveal a little, what we refer to internally as like the 3.5 level.
Gotcha.
It's not Division 4. It's not Division 3. It kind of sits in between.
Right.
And that, I've heard, we've talked about it. I know other leagues and other individuals have, talked about launching something. And I think that's a very, very interesting space.
So that's something that you guys are looking very seriously
at
right now.
Yes, we're looking very seriously
2026, conversations for now have to happen in 26. They can't happen now. They have to lay it. So that's something that's seriously being discussed right now. That's great. So that's where the NPSL is going right now. Okay, that's great. Now, from the standpoint of growth, I know there's between 70 and 80 teams this year. Do you guys have, as we wrap up, we only have a minute or so left here. Believe it or not, I told you it was going to go very fast, Cindy. You still had a half hour was long. It's not enough time. Maybe we'll have to have you back here. But is the league, obviously, is always looking at expansion.
Yes. Yeah. But we're not, the thing, again, another differentiator that we like to say is we're not a volume shop, in quotes, right? We're not for profit, we're not a franchise model, and we're not a volume shop. So we take applications every year that we turn away. We we accept teams based on their ability to run a successful, sustainable business. So we look at their operating model, we look at their financials, and we look at their ability to maintain the minimum standards. So we do turn away teams, and the teams we accept go through a vetting process, which is unlike a lot of leagues in the amateur Division 4 space. And we have a lot of really great candidates on the docket for 2026. We just announced one in North Carolina, Statesville.
Nice.
Which is about an hour away from Hickory.
That's incredible.
And Hickory's totally supportive
They're
of that.
loving it because now you have less
and
travel.
Now they have a derby, and they're going to have their supporters travel there.
And Hickory FC in 20 seconds, national champions NPSL 2025. average home attendance, I think, 4,000 people.
Yep, as high as 8.
Yeah, first year. First year.
Second year.
Second year. Okay, good. Yeah, fascinating stuff. And I can tell you right now, unless you want to break any news you can break right now before we finish up our American Soccer Club Zone show today.
Just wait for a couple more announcements coming in the next few weeks.
All right, you're going to come back on then, right?
Perfect.
The good news is
Thank
we have the commissioner of the NPSL that lives not too far from our studio, so we can get her most of the time when she's not traveling. So, Cindy, thank you so much for coming today. I told you it was going to go fast.
Wow.
Did you enjoy it?
I loved it.
All right, good. We got more to talk about. And by the way, thank you for Stephen Coffey, our intern, who was putting everything behind the scenes. We came all the way back from college just to be on this show today.
Thank you.
You're on the ferry, Stephen? Yeah?
Not today.
Not today? Okay, he drove around, the poor guy. So anyway, I'd like to thank everybody. It's been a great show. Thank our sponsors real quick. Macron, LifeVac, Orland Cohen Orthopedic Group, A-Turf, Bongiorno Law Firm, and, of course, BQE Soccer Partners. And the reason we're here is Todd Shapiro & Associates, greatest PR firm in the country. 2026 around the corner, World Cup coming to the U.S. It's a great time to have a soccer show. I'm Jim Kilmeade. Thank you for listening, and we thank KJOY 98.3, and we'll see you next Sunday.